Good evening, everybody. Welcome to HEALTHline. I am Gregory Zarian.
And I'm Suzanne Watley. Thanks so much for tuning in.
Welcome.
We are asking the question, do you feel safe? Like when you're walking down the street, you decide to cross the road. Are you afraid that some driver is going to make you dodge and weave just to get across the street?
That wasn't my fault. I was texting because I was making a right, and I figured that while I was texting, you were not going to be crazy and get in front of my car so I could run you down.
You were not texting while driving, young man. That's illegal. You know that? Yeah.
And also being on the phone is illegal while driving.
And you know, when you text while driving, you reduce your attention span by
35%. Yes, bottom line is it's all about community safety, right?
Yes, for example, as a driver, are you driving as safely as you could? Or, for example, as a shopper, are you ever worried that somebody's going to come up, stick a gun in your face and demand your purse and your money, like what happened to a shopper in Montrose not too long ago? Also, injuries in the home. We have a whole array of topics to discuss tonight. We have two guests to talk about our subjects tonight. Captain Carl Povilaitis, he is the Captain of Field Services for Glendale's Police Department. And we also have an emergency medicine physician at Glendale Adventist Medical Center, Dr. Anthony Cardillo. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you. It's glad to be here.
And glad to have you back, Dr. Cardillo, one of our favorites.
Thank you.
Captain, what does it mean, field services? What does it entail with what you do?
Field services for the Glendale Police Department is basically our frontline services. So all the officers that you see driving in the black and white patrol cars are part of the field services. The field services division, as our K-9 unit, our special enforcement detail, and our downtown policing unit, which most people refer to as the Americana and Galleria detail.
Got it.
And tell us about your responsibilities at the hospital, doctor.
Well, as an emergency physician, we staff the emergency room. So we are open 24 hours, 7 days a week to deal with all of the illnesses and emergencies in our community.
So since we're talking about safety, your website that is such a great website, d2dglendale.org. What does that mean, Captain?
Well, it's a campaign that the City of Glendale started in partnership with several other organizations called Driven to Distraction, hence the D2D, glendale.org. But one of the things that we noticed in Glendale is distracted driving is on the increase. And distracted driving is becoming one of the main reasons that we have collisions and injury collisions in Glendale.
Which ends up also that it's deadly.
Yes, and we've had fatalities related to distracted driving. But there's very few resources out there. It's a new topic in the area of law enforcement, a new topic in the area of health, a new topic in the area of transportation and transportation safety. So this was designed to give us a tool and give the community a tool to improve safety and explain the dangers of distracted driving.
Fantastic.
We'll be talking more about the website and also about the many ways in which you can avoid injury. Not all of them are obvious, so stay tuned to HEALTHline.
I'm Dr. Cardillo here at Glendale Adventist Medical Center, and today's theme is all about community safety. One of the big issues that we have come across in the emergency department is distraction. Distracted drivers, distracted walkers, distracted everybody. We're all on our cell phones, we're talking, we're reading, and this is presenting a big problem for us here in the emergency department because when people are distracted, they're getting injured. One of the biggest culprits are people that are distracted while they're driving. So please remember, do not text or talk or be distracted when you're driving. That does not only include cell phones. Do not eat when you're driving. Do not pick up newspapers. Do not put on lipstick. Anything that can distract you from your task at hand, which is driving to ensure your safety and the safety of others. So please pay attention and don't be distracted.
Running is life to me. It clears my head. A day is not complete unless I've gone for a run. So when my knee started to ache, I didn't know what to do. My physician referred me to the Therapy and Wellness Center at Glendale Adventist. My physical therapist quickly assessed the problem. We worked together to strengthen my knee and fix what was wrong. Now I feel stronger than ever. Thanks to the staff at Glendale Adventist Therapy and Wellness Center, I feel more like myself again.
Welcome back to HEALTHline. Tonight it's a conversation about safety and safety right here in our community. We're joined with emergency room Dr. Anthony Cardillo, a returning guest. And joining us for the first time are Captain Carl Povilaitis. He's in charge of field services with the Glendale Police Department. Back to you, Captain. You were just sharing with us the d2dglendale.org. It's to make aware the conversation of safety here in the community. Is it just here in this community that the conversation is happening, or all over the country?
Actually, the conversation is in fact happening all over the country.
Fantastic.
Ray LaHood with the Department of Transportation actually elevated distracted driving to a national discussion with cell phones and other distractions in the car. And it's so easy to be distracted these days, and very few people think about it. We can think about makeup and eating and a few other things, GPS units, but probably the most common is still the cell phone.
But didn't we think that when cell phones were brought into the car that we know that they were going to be distracting and that people are going to die from using them in the car?
I think most people think that they can multitask, which is really a misnomer. Our brain does not multitask.
Well, talk about the fact that it's really the conversation, not holding the device, that is the distraction.
Right. I mean, under California law, if you talk on a hands-free device, that is technically legal. But from a safety standpoint, it is really the fact that you are having the conversation and your brain is doing something other than paying attention to driving.
Well, 35%, as we said earlier.
Right, and even under the best of circumstances, it's a second and a half before your eyes see something, your brain perceives it, and your body can begin to react to it. So that kid that runs out in front of your car, it's a second and a half before you do anything. And adding a cell phone or some other distraction just lengthens the amount of time before you're able to react to the emergency.
I apologize to people all the time. I say, I'm sorry, I can't multitask well in this fashion, so I'll have to call you back when I'm stationary.
Don't ask me those questions. Dr. Cardillo, what kind of injuries do you see from people that are on the cell phone and while driving, while texting, stuff like that?
We see all the consequences.
Yes.
We see the patients brought to the department that have sustained injury. So whether it's a simple motor vehicle accident where there are only minor injuries, to the more tragic where a child has been killed, and we have unfortunately seen that, and we've seen it in our emergency department. So it's a very challenging social problem that we're dealing with. And unfortunately, the reality is that many people are actually good at multitasking, and that's the crux of my job, is multitasking. But when the child does wind up in front of your car, you need to be doing nothing but driving to prepare for that event, and it doesn't always happen. We're driving every single day, and the reality is we're not encountering these life-threatening decisions when you're driving. But when it does happen, you need to be focused and prepared. So the only way to ensure that is to just not be distracted at all times. And that's the problem, because most people feel pretty confident when they're driving, playing with the radio, talking on the phone, eating a sandwich, doing
Yelling
their makeup,
at their kids.
whatever it may be.
And for women, putting on makeup and adjusting things and doing their hair and stuff, anything.
And
Okay.
for the most part, most of us do it on any given day without realizing it. It's till you
I'm
make
guilty of it.
Yeah, it's until you make it a cognitive decision and you bring it to the forebrain and say, you know what, this is just dangerous. Like any other high-risk behavior, you need to then address it.
Because most people don't consider this a high-risk behavior. They think they're invincible and like, oh, I'm not going to hit anybody.
They're just not thinking about it. They're not thinking about the subtle defenses you have to have when you're driving that you just can't be distracted.
Because we're a lot of repeat offenders, aren't there?
A lot of repeat offenders, and seconds matter. And you know, Glendale, like most of Los Angeles, is very busy. There's a lot of cars, there's a lot of pedestrians.
Right.
There are a lot of distractions outside that you actually need to pay attention to in order not to have a traffic collision. So eliminating distractions inside the car is really essential.
Who gets involved in the most accidents? Adults, young adults,
Teens.
teenagers?
They run the broad spectrum, but your highest risk group is going to be between ages 16 and 25.
Male or female?
It generally used to be male, but the young ladies are catching up.
Oh.
Just saying, ladies. Do the makeup on at home. So your bottom line before we get into solutions, just don't text and be on the phone while you're driving.
Correct.
Period.
Pull over if you
Don't
have
do
to have a
anything
conversation.
when you're
Driving.
driving.
Other
Just
than driving your
drive
car.
the car. Right.
Okay, when we come back, we're going to give you simple solutions and easy ways to avoid getting into an accident while you are on this. And also while walking and texting. Did you know that you can get hurt? More when we come back.